89.3 The Current. I'm Mary Lucia, and we are doing a Zoom interview with Lindsey Jordan of Snail. Lindsey, how are you?
What's up? I'm actually pretty good. How are you?
You look good. You're in a fine hotel, and you just revealed something to me that, I mean, it is very serious, and it's something that you only just found out
Yeah,
about.
you're getting the fresh, like true blue reaction to the information right now.
Okay, talk to me.
Okay, well, so I have polyps on my vocal cords. They're massive, like pretty
Mhm.
severe. And yeah, I just found out a couple days ago, and I have to get an operation and multiple months of speech therapy, and we're canceling like half of the Valentine tour.
Oh my
So
God.
I know, or rescheduling, postponing.
Well,
So
sure. I mean, in this day and age of postponement, maybe people will be far more understanding. But the fact that, the thing about your vocal cords is that, do you feel like when you sing, are you the kind of singer that warms up? Are you the kind of singer who will just like scream your head off if you feel like it on stage? Is somebody going to try to tell you you haven't been using your vocal cords correctly?
Well, so it's funny that you ask, and this is just everyone in my life is like, they find out this information and they're like, "Oh, really? Like, it's not from singing; it's from talking." So they can tell, of course, like based on the location of where they are, what they're from, and I figured that I had really done myself in smoking weed or
Hmm.
maybe singing because that would make the most sense. I sing like as if I'd been smoking cigarettes for 40 years but I just assumed my voice was just naturally husky, and it's naturally raspy and a little on the lower end, but
Right.
I had been thinking because I've been doing like pretty serious vocal coach stuff like for months, just preparing for the tour because
Mhm.
I always lose my voice, and I was beating myself up to a pulp thinking that I was doing it to myself, not being able to sing with the right technique or something. And
Mhm.
I'm a real student in that, like I practice so much, and I really do everything they say. I warm up. I have like this metal straw that I do vocal warm ups with. It's like a 20-minute thing. I take it all very seriously.
Mhm.
I drink a lot of water. I sleep. I don't party during tours, like stuff like that. And I got a new vocal coach who is very like health centric, and he was like, "You're doing all the technique stuff correctly. Actually, what's going on is, I don't know. It seems like there's something medical. You should go to the ENT." So I had an ENT appointment scheduled for months. It was like hard to get in, and
Right.
eventually, right before my big tour, I go in, and they were like, "Oh my God, like these are very serious, and you should go to this other like larynx professional because to like really see what's up." And the larynx guy was like, he did the like the x-ray, and he was like, "These
Yeah.
are pretty bad." And they're from
Chip
talking
chat.
Gavin.
Well, as a fellow raspy gal, I mean, it's kind of the thing where, yeah, you were doing all the right things. You were, drinking tea and doing your warm-ups and stuff. But yeah, I mean, good Lord, if we're a chatty person, do we have to be punished with surgery? I mean,
Oh,
for real?
exactly. Well, and there's a lot of things that come with it that are funny. Like they're like, you should be taking vocal naps, like, and on tour, like not talking during the day and stuff like that. And I don't know, it feels a little bit like a punishment and a little bit like the best news I've ever heard, because
Yeah.
in a lot of ways I feel like I've been swimming upstream against my own condition, and I've
Mhm.
always just like been, a sense of imposter syndrome comes with that, where I'm like, why is it so hard for me to do my job? Like,
Right.
why do I lose my voice every 2 days? Like, why am I so scared to go on tour because I think I'm gonna like ruin it for myself? All this pressure, all this stuff. Like, I find out it's not my fault. There's a fix, and I get like the chance to, I don't know, just like take the time to make sure I'm really doing things right.
You
Because I
know,
think,
yes. And
yeah.
you've probably done your research too. There's a lot of singers who've had that very operation. And it's like, it's scary, of course, because it's your voice. But I think you'll be okay, and you'll soak up that time just to, have people wait on you hand and foot, hopefully.
Oh no.
Well, we're doing this as a session because, of course, you do have Valentine, the record. And we want to take a quick break here and listen to a tune from it. And we'll come right back.
Great.
Where no one can see us, honey. Careful in that room. These parasitic cameras, don't they stop to stare at you? Can't love first both.
'89 through the current. I'm Mary Lucia, and I'm talking to Lindsey Jordan of Snail Mail. The new record is Valentine. And Lindsey, I'm just going to guess that you are, I think it's safe to say, you are a nonfiction writer. And with your songs, I kind of wonder, because you are a young person that has developed, I guess, just a style at this point of songwriting and writing in general, that I always think, does that scare you a little bit to feel like, oh man, is this what I have to do for the rest of my life? Do I have to bleed on stage every night? Or can I learn to write in the third person, tell someone else's story?
That's a really good question. And it is something that I think about all the time. I think there is definitely, once you assign yourself to a period of time, which I really think there was definitely a threat with Lush of just being like a blip in time, because it really was of the moment, which is really cool. But like at the same time, I didn't want to be pigeonholed. I feel really, I feel personally oh, I don't know, kind of locked into a cage when people put me in the category of like sad girl and compare me to artists that, are like also sad women. And I'm just like, I don't know. I felt like and it is interesting. Valentine is very sad. I'm aware of that. But I don't want to like make it a brand. It's a thing where I know I've been thinking critically about the next record, and it's something you can't really do because you can't plan for what emotions are going to like cause inspiration or whatever. But I do want to be sure to just vary more. And I tried to with Valentine as much as I could, because I do notice that sadness is the easiest place for me personally to write from and to pull from. And those kinds of experiences, I find like writing poetry and lyrics about it, it's just like, it's not easy, but it's the easiest to like go into depth with, I guess, in a way, because I think like sadness is a feeling that you kind of can look back on and I think remember it in all of its visceral detail, where anger is something that it passes and you look back and you're embarrassed. The feeling is different. It's not, so it's a feeling that I think you can continue to pull from. So there's a couple angry songs on Valentine. There's Light Blue is a pure love song. But even coming just from like, even just that like little category that I've put myself into, like reflecting on this relationship, whatever, I do want to vary it. Cause I don't know, people kind of start to expect and and they want you to keep doing the same thing over and over again. But then there's also everyone else and me, where it's like, if I was writing the same album I wrote when I was 15 over and over and over again, everybody would think I was a weirdo. I'm like, I'm not sure everybody actually wants the same thing over and over again. But that is, from my position, what I'm experiencing. I meet a lot of people that are like, I really miss the guitar. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, okay.
It's hard because you come out of the gate with like a really strong record, and then you go on tour to support it, and you make a certain amount of fans, and you have no control over their expectation of you continuing to be a sad bastard for the rest of your life. Right. And then you go, well, hey, hang on a second. I might be actually happy right now. And something might be just a really huge geyser of ideas, but there's still always going to be the expectations you can't control of your fans and the listeners that just want you to do the same old thing. But I think more and more artists are just going, build a bridge, get over it. I am not going to be, that person you need me to be. Maybe Adele. Like I'm just thinking in my head, I could not imagine Adele writing a song about someone else's experience. It seems to work for her, but like the fact that you said, you've got some anger, and again, when you're on a tour, which you will be soon, but you are reliving a lot of like crappy feelings and a lot of both the sad stuff and the angry stuff. And that, I guess that's part of being an artist, and knowing when to kind of pull back and keep just a tiny little bit for yourself and not give it all away.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. That's just something I also think about all the time. And there's anything from like a point of view of a character is a writing style that I haven't grasped yet. And I've thought about it. I've considered it. I will go as far as to say I've dabbled in it and tried. And I think that it's maybe something that I could look into down the line. But at the time, the feelings that were coming to the surface that I was trying to write about, or not even trying to write about, but just living through on Valentine, were so strong for me that I was processing as I was going. And there were little details that made their way into some of the demos, into some of the drafts that were too personal and just went too far into detail, and, went further into detail than I was willing to go. So then there's the hard line of what am I willing to say in the press? And like, once you set the boundary, that I think, at least for me personally, I'm like, if I traverse the boundary, I'm going to be very angry at myself. I like go into interviews and I'm like, I'm not going to say any, like, I don't know. There's only because it's just like, if you want to be the Mr. Personal, write about your life guy, you can't continue to have friends and girlfriends. And oh, hold on. This is my room service coffee.
Okay. Yeah. Her coffee is coming now, and we're talking to Lindsey Jordan of Snail Mail, and talking about the record Valentine, about being, vulnerable, pigeonholed into being like the sad singer. And now she's got a coffee with almond milk delivered to her door.
That'd be my third of the day.
Your third of the day. Fantastic. Yeah, I guess the thing is again, maybe it's a trait as you get more experienced in caring less about like I was saying, other people's expectations. Certainly journalists. I think you'd care more about fans than you would about writers. Am I wrong?
Dude, I mean, it's funny. I have strong feelings about this, but there's only I have to be so careful. I'm just picturing the look on my manager's face, like listening to, but I guess journalists, I mean, some of them are awesome, but some of them come to the interview already unimpressed. And it's like your task of the day to like convince them to like you and your project. And I'm not gonna, I'm done with that. I'm like, no. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you could be the most charming person in the world and have the most charming, great songs in the world. And some journalists just come to the interview, like prove it. And I'm like, I'm tired, and somebody else, like, I just don't. That's the type of thing where I'm just like, if they don't like it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't really read the reviews because it stresses me out. Yeah. But I just rely on the people around me to be like, that was a good review back there and like whatever, blank and blank. And I'm like, cool.
And maybe I'm projecting, but wouldn't you rather just like sit down with another writer and have a conversation rather than like this line of questions that it's like, I've answered this so many times, I'm going to take a hostage. It's like, I want to know what you're reading right now. Okay, hold it up. What is it?
I don't want to butcher anything. Tokyo Yeno.
Okay, who's the author?
Miri.
Okay, tell me, did someone recommend it or did you pick it up?
So actually I'm also reading All About Love by Bell Hooks. And I like to, every trip I go on to, especially press tour type trips, I like to have one serious book, like an informative book, and one fiction book.
Yeah.
And so I was shopping for my friend's birthday present at Strand the other day. I was like, love Strand.
But you can't get anything on the top shelf unless you have no fear of ladders.
That's right. I had a friend jumping for me recently, like equally short, but more daring publicly friend jumping. And eventually we got one down just through like repetitive jumps. But that's kind of what you have to do. But
for anyone who doesn't know, the Strand Bookstore in New York on Broadway is legendary and you should support them because they're an independent business. But they have the most massively stacked shelves. And, the people that work there are probably all like, Mensa level intelligence. And it's like, hey, where's the section on biography? And they just kind of wave at you in a certain area and then go, you just got to climb that ladder. And you're like, what? I got to what? It's so groovy, the whole experience. Anyway, you were buying a book at the Strand for your friend.
For my friend, I actually got him American Pastoral by Philip Roth, which I just myself finished recently and loved. And he's has similar taste in me. So I was like, I'll pick this up. And I saw this other book just like on, I think it might have been in Notable Fiction. And I thought the cover was really intriguing. And I just read the back and I was like, wow. And I'm loving it. It's great.
Good. Maybe that's a sign then. If you're finding some more fiction that you like, maybe it might unlock a little part of your own songwriting. And like you said, you've given it a try.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you straight up, I don't read. I just want to hear about people's real stories. So I'm obsessed with biographies and of anybody. Truly, I mean, I can watch a documentary about like whoever invented the toilet brush. I mean, if it's interesting enough, I'll watch it. And I just want to hear other people's stories. But I know you're a fan of Joan Didion.
Yeah.
Oh, I love. And did you watch her documentary?
I did. The Center Will Not Hold, right?
Yeah, which the Slater-Kinney, that only came to me later that Slater-Kinney had named their record Center Won't Hold after that. But what a powerful person and what a powerful woman. she was, again, I'm not going to be the Wikipedia on Joan Didion, but it's like for anybody who didn't, I mean, she was really vocal about like the Central Park Five, and was married to another writer, Dominic Dunn.
Right.
But it just, there's so many people that inspire me, and I'm just so captivated by other people's stories. And I mean, I just want to know well, I know you're in bed and you just got a coffee, so you probably don't even have shoes on right now, right?
No, but I could put some on.
Well, I was just going to say, this is the thing I miss the most about Zoom interviews, is that I don't get to see what their shoes are. Because
God,
totally into shoes.
They're right here. Hold on.
Let's see them. Yeah.
There are shoes that go with this outfit and
Let's see
pants
'em.
that I'm wearing either. And I keep seeing my pants creep into the screen. I'm like, damn, I should be wearing the pants that go with the outfit. These.
Okay, that's what I'm talking. A little Chelsea boot. Cute.
Yeah, they're super cute. They're Joan and David.
Yep.
Italian.
Oh, Italiano leather. Those are about a 3.5-inch heel, almost 4, just from the way you showed that.
Right.
No, I'm all about shoes. In fact, when I do interviews, sometimes when I'm trying to think of the next place to go, I just start looking down at their footwear, and I feel like it telepathically tells me where to go. So here, I'll show you mine since you showed me yours.
Yeah, please. Shoes are such an important.
Tell me
about
cowboy
these.
boots.
Those are awesome.
They're so comfortable.
I like them a lot. Great height on those.
Yeah, it's really good. I like that mid calf. Well, we're going to get another song, and then we're going to come back and we're going to chat about God knows what. It is Snail Mail on 89.3 The Current.
By the world outside you. Anyways, I'm never
Reading Night Through the Current. I'm Mary Lucia, and I'm chatting with Lindsey Jordan of Snail Mail. Now, I don't want to overplay the fact that you're going to have to take a little bit of time off, but again, if the last 2 years have taught us nothing else, it's make friends with change, you cannot depend on, okay, I had this tour all planned out with the release of the record. And now,
Right.
your health is far more of a concern. And I get that. So in this time, are there going to be people, whether it be management, label, friends, going, well, then write another record, Lindsey? You got to write another record.
You know what? Actually, it's so amazing. I mean, the people that I work with that continue to work with me, and it's pretty much all of the original same team are just like people that really trust my artistry, and they want me to take my time, and they want me to do whatever I want. They want me to take vacations because I think it's just a long-term investment. I think everybody that I work with is like, she's a writer. And so I'm like, that's the kind of energy that I need around me. And nobody at my label at any point was like, you're running late. This thing needs to be turned in. Any guidance I got in that direction was kind of more along the lines of, if you want to tour within the next year, if you want to put the record out before 2022, here's when it needs to be done. Things like that, so I'm sure, I don't think anyone will say anything. Maybe they'll think it because I definitely won't be singing or anything. The biggest thing about, I was actually thinking about how it could technically be like a lucrative time for me. However, there will be an entire month where my voice box just doesn't work. It won't be that like I'm not supposed to talk. I won't be able to talk.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Everyone around me is like,
I know.
the sun just comes out a little brighter. Everybody starts, people on the street find themselves like smiling, walking down the street, not sure why.
Some glitter everywhere.
A great lightness comes over the world.
Oh my God. Well, the crazy thing is that is amazing to think that you will be without that. Well, I guess your voice is in a sense, one of the senses, but what an interesting thing. And I think I know just enough about you to know that you're curious about the world around you. I can't imagine what that experience is going to be like for you after 4 weeks of writing notes for people and whatever else communication. Maybe you'll get really good at pantomime. You'll get, I don't know, whatever, learn sign language, but it'll be a really interesting learning experience for you to go, wow, I didn't talk for a month.
Well, I won't lie to you. I'm actually pretty excited. I talked to one of my friends who had the same surgery. He's a singer as well. And he was talking about how just having, it sounds corny, but it's very rehab to like have a purposeful, I guess it's not my fault. I'm not choosing, but having a time where you are sitting back and listening and not inserting yourself into conversations and just really taking the time to observe. I'm actually thinking it'll be good for me because sometimes I want to put myself more in that mindset, but it's like I physically cannot control myself from opening my mouth and yammering sometimes. And so I'm actually I think I might get stoic and wise with it. I don't know.
Well, it works for Zen monks, and I think it can work for you too. But I am so glad to meet you and talk to you. And we love the record, and you just need to take care of yourself. And, it's like we are playing the record. We're loving it. And like I said, you got to just check. Do you post stuff on Instagram, or are you not so willing to share life on social media?
First of all, it's nice to meet you too. I'm having a really nice time.
Good.
Second, so we are going to make a statement just to let people know what's up. So the thing about my Instagram is I do not have the login, and I chose for it to be that way. Smart. Kind of found this like sweet spot in my life within, during the pandemic time where I just realized I like myself more when I'm not kind of in a validation spiral at all times. And I at least personally really notice it has done my personality a lot of favors to not have Instagram. And it takes a lot of anxiety away. I never realized how much anxiety comes from it. I don't necessarily need to know what people are saying to me on Instagram. And I kind of prefer to be in the dark. And
you should be.
So my day-to-day assistant, Holly, who's awesome, I will text her things that I want her to post with captions. And sometimes I'll be like, can you come up with a caption? And it just keeps everything sort of, I feel if I'm going to be a personal lyricist and it's sort of an open book, so to speak,
Right.
my boundaries set. And I actually it's been really fantastic.
Well, and you could also just to have fun with people. I mean, again, it's like, what are you obligated to tell people? I mean, you could get some really wild story going, like you faked your own death or something, or like, you got kidnapped and
Something's telling me we should collaborate on this.
Well, thank you so much for talking and speedy recovery. And maybe I'll see you at the Strand this winter. I'll be the one terrified of heights in nonfiction biography at the very top of the ladder.
Okay. I look forward to that interaction. I'll
be there. I'll be there.
Fun for the ages.
I'll be there for the whole 2 weeks before Christmas. So you'll see me there at least a couple times.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely see you there. I'm like already planning my Christmas presents based around this.
Totally. All right. Totally. Thank you so much for chatting and get some more room service.
I'm going to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.